And
I know you learned a lot, yeah.
And because it's so smooth like that, we're actually rolling. Welcome to Stuff, Audrey.
I'm glad to be here, Stuff.
No, it's really smooth, man.
S-T-U-F-F, and that's how you spell
right.
it?
And
Stuff.
we enter with grace with the wonderful Audrey Smaltz.
Legendary.
Legendary.
Legendary Audrey Smaltz. How you feeling today?
I feel great. I'm glad to be here. I'm in Brooklyn.
That's right.
My mother used to say you needed a passport to get to Brooklyn because we're from Harlem, so I'm here.
I'm wishing on us, I'm wishing on us, I'm wishing on a star. And I wish on all the rainbows that I've seen, that I've seen, that I've seen, that I've seen.
It's a whole lot of king shit. You know what's going on, man. Oh, hell to the motherfucker.
Make the best of things, oh baby. Make the best of things, oh baby.
What's good, y'all? This is TJ from All Hail Worldwide, and we are at the grounds for the Strong Island Hip Hop Festival that will be going down August 24th and 25th in Brentwood, New York. It consists of a sneaker event, a DJ battle, a cypher, and a bunch of performances from the top artists coming out of Long Island right now. So, you know, at the end of the day, this is a charity event. You know, what we'll be doing is raising money for our back to school drive for the underprivileged youth of Long Island. So, you know, come out, have some fun for a great cause, and we're really gonna turn up, and we're gonna wake the island up with this one, so let's get it.
I think she's somebody that doesn't need an explanation from herself. So I'll give a brief, as much as just a little taste. You know, not even words that I can say can really describe. But you're a pioneer for the fashion industry. You've been modeling, and you know, for over 40 years you've been in the fashion industry, and I would even say even more than that.
Much more.
I'm sure. I know you started when you was 15.
More than my lifetime. And I bet viewers
yes.
can't even guess your age if they wanted to, but we're not even going to get into that because we'll keep that a secret. But it is a pleasure to have you here, and you have been our introductory into being in the fashion, and not just fashion is like on a entry level, but fashion and like the highest of the high fashion. You can't really get any higher than that.
Wow.
So you've been our introduction into fashion on the top level when it comes to the top shows. It's Victoria's Secret, Michael Kors, Vera Wang, DKNY. There's so many more.
There's so many from the last 5 years about.
Well, thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I started out in fashion. I was 15, and I went to a charm school called the Ophelia DeVore School of Charm in Harlem on 125th Street. And that was in 1954, in the spring of that year. And the very first job that I got, they taught you how to sit, how to stand, how to walk, how to enter a room. They taught you etiquette, how to speak, colors.
How's my posture?
My posture's right too.
Not bad. Your posture's good. Yeah. You have to sit up straight. And so the very first job that I ever got, I got paid, and I was a say hey kid for Willie Mays. Now, why did they say hey? Because that's what he did. He said, say hey, Willie Mays. And he was center fielder for the New York Giants, because the Giants went to Los Angeles, but that's a long time ago. I just told you, 1954, my gosh. So I started out as a model, and I loved fashion. I dated a guy who was in finance, and Wall Street was looking for a black woman. They didn't have any black women on Wall Street, and he worked for a company called Bastian Company They were looking for a black woman, and he said, Audrey, you have to try out for the job. So I did. I tried out for the job, took an exam, whatever, passed, and then I worked for Bayesian Company so I could learn how to sell mutual funds. And they sent me to school. That was great. And they paid me. That was even better. $75 a week. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot of money, but that was a lot of money back then. This is the 60s. This is the 60s. So that when it was time for me to go into business for myself, I knew about business. See, so many people want to go into business and they don't have a clue about business. They just know they have a creative end.
Woodland is a restaurant on the corner of Flatbush Avenue and 6th Avenue, which is primarily patroned by black and brown consumers that go there to celebrate and to network. And unfortunately has become part of a pattern of black and brown restaurants that are being targeted and shut down by city and state agencies. It's reminiscent of the cabaret law, which was repealed in 2017, but was used to target black and brown spaces and shut them down for good. The tactics used now are reminiscent of this old law in a new packaging. This is all going on while the Mayor's Office of Nightlife is responsible for this 25,000 business industry with a $10 billion a year to the city revenue, but is only given 5 staff members and a $400,000 budget. It's inadequate to deal with the issues that are happening, and the Black Institute is committed to racial and economic justice. And we have released a report which will be available on our website, theblackinstitute.org, which details the discrimination and patterns emerging that are affecting black and brown spaces.
I'm here on behalf of the National Action Network, founder and president, Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. We stand in unity with the Black Institute, with Black Lives Matters, with other community organizations and supporters of Woodland. I've been a patron of Woodland for some time. I'm a little older, so the crowd is loud, it's fun, but however, they cannot be discriminated against. The atmosphere is for the millennials, professional millennials, who come and have a good time. They don't get into trouble, and they're being targeted and singled out among other businesses along the strip that's getting similar crowds. Why is that? We want equality, we want fairness in this process. We think everyone could come together and make it so that Woodland is allowed to stay here, stop being discriminated against in the form of fines, large fines continuously by the SAL and the movement, the operation of March that the city has put together to keep continually coming down hard on Woodland. We would like to see a resolution to this matter, but we would not like to see Woodland closed. That will not be acceptable, and we will stand with the other organizations to make that happen. I thank you for your time.
And I want to be unambiguously and unequivocally clear. Gentrification is colonization. Gentrifiers come into our communities, exploit our resources, exploit our rents, raise our rents, push our people out, and increase police presence in communities across the city. Let's be very, very clear. When white people come into black and brown communities, they should assimilate and not try to change the whole community. Woodland is a centerpiece of that Brooklyn community and should remain open. It is where young black millennials go to express themselves, where young black professionals go to express themselves, where I go for lunch when I do business in Brooklyn. And the NYPD in the city of New York has a history of targeting black-owned businesses that make their neighbors unhappy. And let's be very clear, by making your neighbors unhappy, all you need is a black business in a community that is turning white. And we're here to say enough is enough. We're here to say save Woodland. We're here to say leave our people alone. Remove your oppression and your oppressive ways from our community. And on that note, just as a matter of protocol, I'd like to say fuck de Blasio.
So with that being said, we've met you through the ground crew. So I know why the company's called the ground crew. So can you explain to the audience what the ground crew is and even where the name came from? Because there's a special reason why the name is called the ground crew.
Really? Because in 1964, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King got the Nobel Peace Prize in Oslo, Norway. And in his acceptance speech, he talks about the ground crew in two places. And he says the freedom planes could not get off the earth or get anywhere if you didn't have the ground crew to see to it that it got there. And you have the pilot, the co-pilot, you have everybody, but what about those people that clean the plane, that make certain the plane takes off? The people that you don't even know about, what about those people? I don't have the exact quote, because I never can remember the exact quote, but it's there in two spots, the ground crew. And I heard him speak about this in 1965 at Convent Avenue Baptist Church. And he talked about that, and so that when I went into business for myself in 1977, I knew that I wanted to be known as the ground crew, but I never could find anything to reinforce that. I even asked Yolanda, his daughter, I asked his secretary. No one could, they didn't know where that speech was. And many years later, after 1977, when I started the ground crew, a friend of mine found it. And she gave it to me in a book. Oh, I couldn't believe it. I finally found it. And that's how the ground crew came. So that's what we did. We did backstage management for fashion shows, fashion shoots, and fashion videos. And we did it for all the leading designers of the world. And it was 40 years I did that, from 1977 until 2017. So that was 40 years, actually 40 years in about 8 weeks or 7 weeks. Because I started in November. I started on the 7th day of the 11th month in the 77th year, 7/11/77.
Yes. The power in the pause. Can you tell the people about the power in the pause? Because I love that.
There's power in the pause.
Pause.
That was it.
But,
All right, so here's an example. My example, which is really funny. Many times people say, well, Audrey, you were married. How long were you married? I was married for 18 months. I know you were thinking years. I know you were thinking years.
I was. but
it's power in the pause. So whatever you want to say, and so many of you guys talk fast.
I know I do.
That's when you need to take a deep breath. That's a pause. So I teach people how to say their names. So your name is Thaddeus Nelson. Thaddeus Nelson.
That sounds so lovely.
A pause. My name is Audrey Smaltz. Audrey Smaltz.
It's like music.
Take the pause. Because most people aren't listening. They didn't hear, they don't remember. You just told them your name and they still can't remember your name. Am I right? Flailer, like Taylor, like Flailer, something like that.
Kaila.
Kaila. I was close, but not close enough. So people, they listen, but they don't remember. So just take your time and say both names if you want to, but they're not listening. Isn't that sad? But the pause is good. You know, hi, my name is Audrey Smaltz. Not Audrey Smaltz, because they really didn't hear you.
My name is Terrence Nelson.
Ooh, boy, that's fabulous. Terrence and Thaddeus. That's
Thaddeus Abraham Nelson.
Oh.
Wow. You're gonna start some over here.
But Tan, T-A-N.
And that's where the Tan-Clan comes from.
Yeah, there you go,
How do
Tan.
you see the landscape of the fashion industry now compared to what it was when you first got into it?
Because I know it's a big change.
Do you think it's a good or bad thing as to where it is and where it's going?
Well, right now, I don't think the fashion industry knows where it's going. So many stores going out of business. Mm-hmm. So many, what they call mortar, something in mortar.
Brick and mortar.
Brick and mortar.
Those like retail stores.
Retail stores, they're hurting, and so many things are online. And you go online. I don't buy anything online except if it's a book. But I don't buy clothes online because the fabric isn't right. It looks great. They take a great photograph, but then you get the fabric and say, oh my God, I want real silk. I want real silk. This is real silk. Or I want cotton. I don't want polyester. Now, those two ladies from the Midwest, one's named Polly and the other name is Esther. I don't want those two ladies. So what's happening now, everybody seems to be online. Oh, I got this online. I got this online. And they go into so many inexpensive stores. So the store that's out there now is Bergdorf Goodman, Bloomingdale's, and Macy's, Nordstrom. There's some other stores, but so many stores are gone. LS Ayres used to be in St. Louis, Missouri. The Heck Company used to be in Washington, D.C. Woodland and Lothrop was in Washington, D.C. Oh, there are no more stores around. Things have changed, and I think people, there's luxury, very expensive, and then there's very cheap. There's very little in between. I don't see it. And then you don't see, no one gets dressed up anymore. No one is elegant anymore. They just look, they wear ripped jeans.
Hey, I wear ripped jeans.
Hey, you wouldn't catch me in any ripped jeans.
I like the breeze.
Oh, knock it off. You like the breeze. Knock it off. There's no breeze today. It's an oven out there today. Don't tell me you like the breeze. Knock that off. And then the young ladies today, they're showing their derriere, the tight jeans on, tight pants or whatever. And then they put their cell phone there. Oh, my God. We would never.
That's not your style.
That's not. It's okay because I'm a woman of a certain hip age.
Yeah.
And it's all right. I just look at you ladies and say, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
You ever felt low? Low to the flow? Like you need to pick me up? Getting tired of being made fun of because you had ashy skin? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Well, I got something for you. That Parauma Potion Lotion. We have it in 2 scents. Paradise Breeze and Lemon Lust. Both can instantly get rid of your ashiness and have you feeling 100.
Use Parauma Potion to uplift your spirits and get you out of your funk. Parauma Potion offers a variety of products: roll-on fragrances, bath bombs, potion lotion, oil burning kit, massage oil, earrings, and much more. Some side effects can include overjoy, over-relaxation, euphoria, attractiveness, overindulgence, being chased by large crowds, great sex, and better self-esteem. You're not liable for any obsessiveness by any of your peers because of the great aroma of Parauma Potions.
Check out ParaumaPotions.com to get your own bottle.
Thanks, Parauma.
I like it when you fall.
My name is Diego Garcia. I'm a painter, and I'm from Brentwood, Long Island, North Side. That's it. I can't help but say North Side after I say Brentwood. I was on News 12 and I actually said that. They didn't use that part for News 12. I've always had a knack for like drawing and painting and all that stuff since I was a little kid. Like, you know what I mean? You know, everyone always asks if I have like any family members or anything that draw. Not to my knowledge at least, not really. But I think it became really serious for me on an emotional level when I started doing graffiti. I started doing graffiti when I was like 12, 13 years old. And then from there, it kind of just progressed into being really good at it, learning from it, growing from it as a person, being a part of the community, walking the train line with homies and stuff like that. All of that stuff was cool, but as I got older, it became like we would all get canvases to hit up, and I'm like, yo, let's do a theme. That's kind of where I ended up with it. And then after high school, I was gonna go to FIT. I was taking honors art classes at Brentwood High School, and then I kind of just was like, I think it's a very ambitious thing to ask a 17-year-old, 18-year-old child what they're gonna do for the next 4 to 6 years of their life, financially and with their time. I just think it's like an abstract concept that America has ass backwards, you know? But whatever, that's a whole nother conversation. So yeah, after high school, I was gonna go to FIT, I was ready to go, but I didn't, out of just fear and insecurity. So I stayed local, did college for a little while, had a college professor tell me I had no artistic vision. Yeah, that was crazy. That really happened. My current exhibit right now at Muñeca Art House is called Clarity. And for me, it means a lot of things, but more importantly, it means I didn't call it clarity to impose that I have it. I didn't call it clarity to impose to the viewer that I own it, that I have it, that it exists in my life. I did it to represent the search for it. The whole show really means not necessarily having clarity, but having the will to search for it, to look for it in your own life, to find the answers that bring you clarity. Everybody's clarity is different, you know? And with that being said, to me, I know there's something specifically that I want clarity on, but I just think it's as simple as it sounds, man. I'm just looking for clarity, for a little bit of certainty, for a little bit of guidance in the sense that everything will be okay, you know? A little bit of affirmation. And that doesn't have to mean like, oh, on this date, you're gonna make $1 million and be fine. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that. It doesn't have to ever mean that. And it probably never will. Like, life doesn't work that way. I just think a little bit of clarity can mean anything as a pat on the back, a hug or a kiss, like, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Even though it's not. It's okay to not be okay, you know? And that's really what the show means to me, this whole idea of the dichotomy, the struggle and the tug of war between confidence and insecurity, faith and doubt. Faith and doubt are the two biggest denominators of our life. They can dictate our choices forever, and they always will. I think it's the hardest choice that we as humans have to make, is to decide whether to act in either faith or doubt. You know, like I had this idea of clarity, searching for it, feeling like being lost in the woods and having to find your way through the wilderness. So with that being said, once I said that, the whole body of work just started to make sense. I want to do these abstract knife techniques that I've done in previous shows. I want to do them vertically, so they look like trees, so they look like forests, so they look like tree bark. And that represents the kind of vast complexity of life that I see every day, that we gotta like search through. We gotta physically push stuff aside, move stuff, prioritize every single day. And that's what I wanted out of the show. Once I started doing that, I was getting it and it felt really good. The show was really dissecting the idea of like, nah, I really don't know if I'm gonna make it out today. You know, like this one's hard, you know? So with that being said, that comparison of sunshine and daytime, I said to myself, I want this show to feel nocturnal. I want this show to behave in the nighttime. I want the show to feel like a midnight run through the woods, like you're scared. I tell everybody, you know, I was playing Manhunt. You play Manhunt, like that's what I was doing with this body of work. I was scared. That same feeling I had playing Manhunt in the woods, that's how I felt playing and painting this show. I love Basquiat. I love what he did with his subconscious. I think he was just such an ambitious person to just be so innocent and mature at the same time, you know? Like he was able to paint and draw like a child, but talk about anatomy and philosophers and jazz. You know, I think that's incredible. To let your, and everyone, oh, my child could draw that way. There's all these kind of things to say about his work, but if you really think about it, how hard is it to be honest, completely honest? It's to some people impossible. And that's what I was noticing that was helping me in my work become more honest. It was helping me be more honest in my work. When at first I just started to kind of like tip my cap to Jean-Michel, but then I realized how easy it was to write things, how easy it is. It's hard to say I love you, but it's real easy to write it. Fine art could be a more cultural and sociological experience, and people don't take that into consideration. When they're making it, and when they're selling it, and when they're presenting it, and promoting it. You know, it's 2019, man. There's a marriage of social media and music and culture and art and interaction. It's all one big pot of God only knows what to call it now, but we as a community should be taking advantage of that and saying, what can we do for each other through it, you know? And I don't think the art community out here does that. You know, like the Brooklyn Museum out there in the city, in Brooklyn, they do that. They have immersive shows that connect people. You know, all these little pop-up galleries in, you know, in the city or wherever else. Like there's all these places where you can get a really indulgent community experience where people are sharing and listening to music together and enjoying art together, enjoying culture together. And I just don't feel we have that. I think there's a stigma on Long Island that like, art show, okay, I got invited. It's on a Saturday. I could be drinking, but whatever, a friend invited me, so I'll go anyway, right? That's ultimately the first bad thing. People say, oh, can I turn up? Can I whatever, yada, yada, yada. I'd much rather be at a bar or, yo, homie's having a function, I could be there. I play music, I play music. We have, you know, local sponsors contributing beverages and having fun and contributing to the culture, and we have that here. Like, I don't need a party to go indulge with the homies, chop it up and hear some good music, talk to some females, talk to some friends, you know, the LGBTQ plus community. If you want to talk to a spouse, cool, bring them here. This is a loving, all-free community, man, that I don't see anybody taking advantage of, aside from the people like, you know, like Colored Colors and Manifest Media, people that have Heart and Soul Sessions, people that have brought communities together through that idea that it isn't what it used to be. Make sure whatever is going on in your life that you can look past it in the benefit of faith and love.
Lifeless. Don't ride a bike with no brakes.
But life is good. I have a wonderful, wonderful marriage. I'm married to a woman. I met her 20 years ago. I was never into women. I always had men in my life. And all of a sudden, I fell in love with a woman. And so I had to call this friend of mine who is a shrink. A real shrink.
I never heard the word shrink, because yes, you were talking about therapy and how therapy is good.
Therapy is good. This.
Let it out, people. Let it out.
No, it really is. So the shrink, I called him up because I had been with him for 11 years, and I said, Lonnie, you won't believe what happened to me. I'm in love with this woman. And what do you have to say about that? I know I told you something. I knew you knew about me. And there must have been something. He said, Audrey, you're on your journey. Well, did that help me? No. So I just said, well, let me just be on my journey. And the best journey I've been on is 20 years, and it is incredible. And we're married almost 8 years, 7.5 years.
Thank you, Audrey, for coming. We appreciate
My
you.
pleasure. I came to Brooklyn.
We got to just sit with a legend, and I love whenever you're around just to be quiet and hear the stories and the jewels that you always drop on us. So appreciate it.
And for all the viewers, I want you to make sure you go out and do your own research on Audrey Smaltz, because this is only allowed to, not even that much time, but to do your own research and to follow the journey to see how you can go.
Because this is a historian right here.
Yeah.
I had to say one thing.
Let's go ahead.
I didn't tell you one of my greatest days. It was August the 28th.
I'm the 25th. That's my birthday.
Oh, good. This day is August the 28th, 1963, and I was at the March on Washington. One of the greatest days. I still think of it, and I have the original poster, the original ticket to get in, the reserved seat section, everything.
Wow.
The original signatures. What a memory. I didn't tell you that memory. That 19.
What was it about the memory?
That's when the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King gave I Have a Dream. That's when he gave that speech, I Have a Dream. It was just a 250,000 people. You know, the white folks tried to play it down. It wasn't 250,000. It was a lot of folk there. White folk were there too, but you know, the press wanted to say one thing. It was really, really incredible, and I was so happy that I tell everybody, you know, I was at the March on Washington.
Wow, yeah.
Well, you know what the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King would say? No matter how deep you bury the truth, it's gonna rise. It's always there. And the same, no matter how deep you bury a lie, is coming up. I remember him saying something like that. The truth, yes. So you can bury it, but it's going to come right up at you again. It will. The truth will come up. So tell the truth. Tell the truth. Ray Charles. Ray Charles. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
It's fun to tell the truth.
It's good to not hold it in.
They don't hold it in.
Our job is bigger than we think it is. And everybody should feel that way about what they're doing in their life. If they don't, they're not doing enough. If you're a creative that doesn't feel that way about what you do, you're not doing enough. And I mean that. And I'll cut people off for that. Like, yo, if you're not trying to help the people around you be better, be smarter, be more emotionally in touch, I don't know what your work does for people. You know what I mean? Like, there's enough of that. McDonald's sells cool art that doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? Like, McDonald's sells graffiti, and corporations make cool posters that look cool. We don't need stuff that looks cool. We need stuff that feels, you know? And that's what I feel. That's my stance on that.